All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Core Living. I got an interesting one here for you today. You're going to see me kind of on two screens. I got the big screen going here where I'm starting my yoga practice. And I'll pose this question. What is your yoga? And I'm going to talk a lot about it and define it and get into it. And then if you stay with me to the very end of the episode, you can ask for yourself again that question, what is my yoga? So there's a lot to it. You know, this will kind of be a very loose episode. I'm going to try to calm down, maybe not talk so fast, and give you the specifics of, what I'm doing. As you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of getting warmed up in my yoga practice. I'm just, getting comfortable. I've set up for myself kind of a nice, relaxing setting. I've got some candles. Normally I don't have so many candles. I knew I was going to be filming this, so I made it a little bit extra special. added some incense going on, and usually this is a practice that I do maybe once a week, sometimes twice, depending on how I feel. It's a very relaxing practice, and a lot of it I kind of stole from Kriya Yoga and just kind of turned it into my own thing. I guess it's like maybe a bastardization of true Kriya Yoga. This is all I've really could come up with in time to invest into. So you'll notice here as I'm going, I'm stretching. I just try to get myself centered and zoned in towards the practice. Now, there are tons of yoga practices out there. There's a lot of Western yogas where it's all about stretching and loosening yourself up, relaxing. It's very physically focused. This yoga here that you're watching is more spiritually focused. It's more on tuning yourself, which I'll tell you some of the things that I'm doing as I'm doing it when I start getting into it. Again, this is just kind of the warm-up. The word yoga, it means to join or union. And believe it or not, we all actually have a yoga practice, because really it's what we do. It's our intention and our our place in reality, how we engage with the universe, how we engage with what's going on. And there's just different levels of intention there, right? You'll notice here that I'm doing this nose practice. This is kind of where you put your thumb on your nose like this, and then what you're going to do is you breathe in through one nostril, and then you switch it, and then you breathe out, and then you breathe in with two fingers here. I don't know exactly the full reason for this. Might just be to kind of clear your nasal passages and get your focus on your breathing, and to just kind of bring yourself into the present moment, which there's a lot of that in yoga. A lot of it is just about bringing yourself into the present moment. Now, for a definition on yoga, kind of like a very surface level definition, You could say it's a spiritual and an aesthetic discipline, a part of which including breath control, simple meditation, and the adoption of specific bodily postures. It's widely practiced for health and relaxation. But that's very surface. Yoga's been around for centuries, and I think it started in the East. I think is pretty safe to say. In India, a lot of it is in Hinduism, and this practice is used more for just general relaxation or to bring down your anxiety. Depending on how serious you take yoga, it can, based upon what they tell you, they say, it can bring you to a point of enlightenment. And when I said yoga is about joining or union to join, you could say that's with the universe. I think it's to bring you into a conscious awareness of oneness. And if you spend enough time in this state and long enough in this practice, I think you can bring yourself to a glimpse of that if you do it long enough. Now, I get a sense that there's definitely a possibility there. I've done some long meditations before. I've gone for long periods of time. And you definitely the mind starts to calm right down. And you can see me here right now. After I did my nose thing, and I did a couple of deep breaths in. Now I'm actually doing a little bit of a tongue exercise. It's kind of a warm-up. It's hard to maybe notice on here, but what I'm doing is I'm actually bringing my tongue up against the top of my mouth, sliding it back, and then making a noise kind of like a frog jumping off of a lily pad into water. And it makes that noise. I think maybe I can do it like that, kind of. And you can make fun of me in my weirdo yoga practices here. But that's kind of what you're looking for. And you say, why in the hell would you be doing this? What is the whole point of this? And to be honest, I'm not actually quite sure. I've thought about it, a lot, why you would be doing this. What's the point of this? This is just the first phase of this. When you do that, you do it 10 times, that tongue thing. And basically what you're doing is you're bringing your tongue back and you're pointing it up. And and then I think the whole idea is that to just envision the energy coming up your spine and going right through you, from your bottom chakra up through the top, your crown chakra, and bringing the energy in. And while you're doing this practice, you have to focus on all this. It's all about focus. And right now, as I'm sitting here, it might look like I'm just sitting here meditating, but what I'm actually doing is I'm breathing in. I'm doing diaphragmatic breathing, where I breathe in deeply through the nostrils, so much so that kind of my stomach expands. I bring in as much oxygen kind of as I can for about 5 seconds there. And then I breathe out through the nose, and then the stomach will come back in. And while I'm doing that, I go through the 5 bottom chakras. There's 7 chakras, but again, chakras, there's 136, but these are the main ones, the main 7 chakras. So basically what you do is you breathe in and you focus on your bottom, you would start with your root chakra, and as you do it the first time, you can't hear me doing it, but you make this sound and you go the sound there's actually a symbol for it. I don't know if you've seen it before. It actually looks like a 30. My wife saw it and laughed at me. It's like a 3 with a 0, and then at the top there's like this little line with a dot in it. And it's the symbol for like which is supposed to be like the sound of the universe. And so basically, you're focusing all of this. You're focusing on your chakra, the energy going up and down, while keeping your eyes focused, kind of like your eyes like this, like focused outward. There's so much you're focusing on, and so as you do that, and you just focus on, you like envision that chakra, say your root chakra, you make that sound, and then you do it again, and then you go to the next chakra, which would be your sacral chakra, which is between your navel and your groin area, and then you're going to do it again, and you go through, you go to your solar plexus chakra, which is right here, and your sternum, I guess, I don't know what you call this, right here. And then you do your heart chakra, your throat chakra. And once you've done that, you do it again, but you go back down. And so you're going to do that. You do that. I do that once, and then I go through it again. But the next time I go through it, I don't say the sound, but I you try to like envision that sound in your head, like hearing it without literally hearing it, if that makes any sense. It's crazy. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right here, right now. And it seems, it's kind of like, it can seem like a lengthy process when you're doing it. This here that I did was 38 minutes. But really, in the yoga practice world, this is nothing. 38 minutes is nothing. Some of these people that commit their whole lives to these practices, man, they go for hours, 12 hours a day. Can you imagine the commitment? You're damn certain you're going to meet with God after 12 hours of doing this. And they don't just do it once. They do each section like 112 times. And so much so that they you ever notice these gurus that hold on to the bead necklaces? The beads are for counting. So that as they sit there with their hands like this in their lap, they roll through the beads and they count as they're doing it. So yeah, I got this my beautiful cinnamon tea here. Good. So yeah, just relaxing, getting yourself into this. You might ask, like, how the hell did you get into this? Well, I've been definitely fascinated with a lot of spiritual practices for a long time. I wanted to kind of step up my meditation game, and in my personal development searches, Kriya Yoga kind of came across my face, or I don't know, the board, and I was like, maybe I'll give that a shot. So I ordered this book. It was an expensive book called The Secrets of Kriya Yoga, which is an ancient yoga practice. And I read through the book quickly. My intention was kind of just to get a rough idea of it, and then go back and then start learning the techniques better and building upon it. And I was doing it for about a year and a half, and then I moved and I packed the book and I lost it. I've mentioned this before in other books. I'm really sad about that, losing that book. But once I move again finally into Woodville and I get everything unpacked, my goal is to find that book and get back into it so I can show you more interesting things about it. But there's definitely so much there in these books. Now you'll notice that I just kind of changed my posture in the yoga there, And so what I'm doing now is I've got my hands kind of like this with the pads and my thumb like this. And I'm hitting the pads of my thumb off my belly. So I'm going like this, and I'm rattling my thumbs like this off my belly, and it's supposed to be off of your solar plexus like chakra area. And you basically, what you do this, you take 10 you do it 10 times, where you take a big deep breath in and then out again, and this is all through the nostrils here. None of this is out through the mouth. It's all through the nostrils, and you're really focusing on that solar plexus chakra. And I've thought for a long time about what's with the focus on the solar plexus chakra. And I have a feeling that like the chakras, as they go up, they have to deal, I think, with like higher levels of consciousness. And the sacral chakra is kind of where I think a lot of people get blocked. It's right before the heart chakra opens. And I think it has to do with the aesthetic lifestyle in some weird way, where, you know, the addictive things that we get into, all the distractions of life that pull us away from higher states of consciousness, understanding, awareness. And I think there's a lot of attention put on this chakra to like really get your focus in on it, to hit it, to get you to some way thinking about it, even if it is, you know, spiritually unblocking some magical energy chakra in your spine. You know, even if it's not, none of that's real and that's all horseshit, it's at least getting you to think about, you know, what you're putting into yourself. What do you think about when you just keep touching your stomach? Keep touching your stomach. I think about the fat around my belly. How I've been eating too much McDonald's, or I give McDonald's a hard time on this channel. Maybe I should say, you know, too much Burger King. Whatever garbage you're putting into your body, you definitely feel it in your stomach. And there's a lot of focus on this area. Now you'll just notice that I reversed on the screen, and basically what I've done is I've taken that link there where I put my hands like this, and I'm bringing it around my back. Maybe I can show you like this, kind of like, and holding it like that, and you're hitting your thumbs off your back like that. And that's how much attention is being asked of you to put on this solar plexus chakra. And I definitely, you know, whether there's something mystical or magical going on there, it's definitely made me think about my health and to not take it for granted as much. Because life, it's so damn short. And if you're young and you're watching this, you know, I have a lot of regrets about, you know, how I treated my body and stuff when I was getting, you know, younger, how I took, you know, my physical health for granted, and how all that catches up with you as you get older. What type of a state you'll be in when you get older. I know people now, like, it's very easy to see people in their 60s and 70s now, how wise, you know, people have, you know, who've taken care of themselves, taken care of their bodies over time, how it's, you know, it's paid off for them. And then those, you know, who haven't, they suffer, they gotta take all these pills, they got walkers, they're like, they can't walk, they can't do anything. And not to be judgmental, look, we all make mistakes, we all do that. But if you're young and you're watching this, maybe it's kind of like a call to just, you know, not take for granted your youth so much. Start practices now that are gonna like build you up for the future, so that, you know, when you start getting into your 40s and your 50s, you're not gonna be fighting so hard. So yeah, just another thing to think about. Now, you'll notice now I kind of changed my posture again. Now this time what I'm doing is I'm going back to that tongue thing. Now instead of flicking my tongue off the back of my mouth forward, now what I do is I bring it back and I hold it. And I think even in the book, if I had it, I'd be able to know. It said that like some of these master yogis, these guys that do this for a long time, they can actually bring their tongue so far back that it kind of like goes like up and back. And it kind of creeps me out. I'm like, am I going to choke on my tongue? Can you choke on your tongue? I don't know if you can choke on your tongue. But I actually have, because I've been practicing this, I have been able to loosen up my tongue a bit, and it's more flexible now. So I can actually get it back and hold it. I can't get it to like go right around and up, but I can hold it nice and kind of like straight up at the back now. And so basically what you're supposed to be doing here is envisioning, the energy from your root chakra going right up your spine, blasting out through your crown chakra and coming back down, and just keeping your focus on all these things, your breathing, the energy, the chakra, all of this while keeping, the breath through the nostrils, your eyes fixated straight. It's really hard. It sounds like it looks like so easy, but trust me, like you can lose track of this so bad. And I hate when I lose track of like doing the counting and thinking, focus. Like, damn, I gotta start all over again. Like you'll get to 5, and then you like, for some reason, your brain will get like cut off, and you'll start thinking about, answering emails or something. You're like, what the hell am I doing? I'm supposed to be focused on my practice. And you bring your attention back, center it all up, and then, you get focused on it again. Try it. It sounds easy, but you give it a go. So it looks all weird and silly. When I first started doing this, I was like, what the fuck? What is this? But you could take the approach of like, why would I do this? Why, if everything's yoga, if everything that I do is connecting, with reality, why in the hell would I even give this a shot when there's so many things out there? Maybe don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, the wisest people from the ancientest of times have been doing this for centuries. In much longer periods than my little 38-minute session here. Maybe there was something to glean there to really understand about reality that's not as obvious as you might think it to be. Now, right now, what I'm doing is I've kind of gotten out of that tongue thing. I'm kind of back, and it might look like I'm not doing much here. So basically, now in this part of my yoga sit, this is all about coming back to the chakras again, but this time spending a longer period of time. They're like 20-second intervals instead of like 5 seconds in and out. It's like it's kind of like 10 seconds in, 10 seconds, and you really put your attention on each chakra as you go up. And this is just the first 5. You haven't really like launched into the third eye chakra or the crown chakra really. You just, unless you're thinking of the energy coming up and down, but you're just taking a look at these 5 chakras going up and down. And now this time there's an added component. There's actually a sound for each chakra. Now I hope I get this right, because you could, someone watching this might be like, that's the wrong sound and you've been doing it wrong forever. Well, whatever. This is my yoga practice. I can do what I want. But anyway, I guess at the root chakra, you're supposed to listen for the sound of a bee. And on the sacral chakra, you're supposed to listen to the sound of a flute. And then on the solar plexus chakra, you're supposed to listen to the the sound of a harp. And on the heart chakra, the sound of a gong. And on the throat chakra, the sound of waves crashing in. And so you putting this kind of like prolonged, feeling on this, and then you're trying to listen towards that sound. Now, I think in the book I had, it said like the combination of all these sounds make for like the symphony of the universe or something. If you can and apparently if you do this long enough, you can feel it all kind of merge together in one universal symphony. And I don't know if that eventually turns into that sound, that om sound. I'm not sure about it. It's fascinating. I've thought about it a lot. Why did they pick those sounds? Why are those the sounds? Is that really what happens if you focus long enough? But yeah, lots of attention. I find kind of the biggest thing is just to pull your mind away from all the noise that's going on and to just focus it and kind of lose yourself in the sit while you're doing it. So the next thing you're going to see happen here, I don't know if you can notice it, I filmed it, but anyway, as I'm kind of I go up and down this, the next phase of this is actually a faster breathing technique, where what you do is you take a deep breath in, and then this time I need to note here that in the spinal column there's this thing that the yogis say you have, is this thing called a sashimi, which is this tiny little line that pierces right through your spinal column, and it goes through the center of all the chakras. And it's kind of that's where the energy slides up and down for. Now, I don't know if you just noticed it there, but what you do in this section here is that you imagine a needle threading that sushimi going right up the line, right up to the crown chakra, and then you breathe really quickly down. So you go, and basically, and then you have to, while you're doing this, you have to keep your eyes straight and envision the chakra in your mind, and then envision a needle threading through your sashimi, piercing your chakras. So you'd start with your root, and then you would you'd go up the ladder up to the throat chakra, and then back down again. So you're putting a real sharp attention, and this is to try and break blockages in your chakras, because we can block ourselves apparently up in these energy sectors of our body. And by doing these practices, this is kind of a practice to kind of maybe break that down. Now, let me have another sip here, my tea. So, I'm still doing it there. It's nothing too crazy. I don't know. Some people say that if you do this long enough, if you focus on this, and you can have something called a Kundalini Experience, which I've never had, where I think it's very a strong, sharp, something pops in you, and there's an awareness, a higher level of conscious, something happens. It might be an awakening experience where you do realize the oneness of the universe and reality, or something like that. I don't know if that's true. And this is a lot. I can get why people would be skeptical of something like this. You could spend a long time practicing something like this, and yeah, you might never get anywhere. So what a waste of time. And the only answer, and the answer back to you is, well, you never know unless you try. So I've given it a go. I don't have 10,000 hours to spend. I can't do this for 12 hours a day. At least not now. I don't know where this will take me. This is when I look at this is infant steps. This is baby yoga and probably doing it wrong, and definitely don't take my word for this. Go do your own yoga studying. This is what you get when you have a middle-aged guy who works 10 hours a day and comes home and hangs out with his kids. You don't have time to read through a yoga book 15 times, master everything. I would get that. Most people that would take on like a hardcore practice like this, if you're really gonna do it, you would have to quit your job. You'd have to go to a monastery or something, or become a hermit. Spend every waking hour doing this, and who knows? It could all be in vain. You might not be able to get anywhere with it. Now, I've moved on through that sushimi thing where I was breathing really hard down through the nostrils. And so what I'm doing now here is I'm envisioning the energy going up and down through my chakras while keeping my eyes straight and focusing on my breathing. And I kind of squint my eyes a little tighter. And what you're supposed to kind of envision is all the negative energy coming from your base, coming up through your spine, and then envisioning a star in the front of your head, and all the negative energy filtering out through that star, and then all the positive energy of it coming back down in. And I think you're supposed to envision, I don't know if they call it Brahma, I don't want to get it wrong, but I don't know if it's supposed to be God or the highest state of the universe. Or in infiniteness, but you're supposed to soak in the positive energy and exhale the negative energy out of that star. And they say if you do it long enough, you'll see that star, and a blue outlining circle around that star, and then a yellowish hue coming off that blue circle. If you do it long enough. I can see the star if I squint hard enough. If you just squint hard enough, you can see that star. And you can get that energy out of your system. Now, after I do 10 rounds of that, I do 10 rounds of just envisioning all my energy coming up through my whole, spine, through all 7 chakras, through the third eye, bursting out of the crown chakra, and it sounds so crazy. And then envisioning all, the higher energies of all the universe that we live in coming back into me down, kind of like a connection with what I am and the universe. All that energy flow coming in and out and in and out. And so I'll do 10 rounds of that. And I know this all sounds fantastical and crazy, and if you've never done this, if you're foreign to this, this would seem so weird. It was very weird for me when I started doing it. Now I'm used to it. For me, it's relaxing. It's a spiritual time for me that I take, personally for me. It's my yoga that I've kind of created my own little thing. It's not perfect Kriya yoga. It's not perfect any other yoga. It's my thing that I do to center myself and connect myself with the universe, and it's with intention. And I think that might be what matters here, is the intention of what you're doing. And whether it's playing a guitar or going to the gym or going for a run, what is your intention? Is it just to take from reality all that you can take? Or is it to connect, maybe to give back to reality, maybe to lift yourself up to reality, to say, hey, I'm here, use me if you can, or whatever, whatever higher whatever higher things are out there, I take that in. I don't know. You'd have to give it a go, I guess, yourself. But again, there's other forms out there. It doesn't have to be this, and I don't think everyone just has to do the same thing, or there's one way. Everyone's got their own interesting things. I do find it relaxing. I like the scented candles. I usually do it when the kids go to bed. The wife will go upstairs for a bit. This one was kind of a long one. Maybe I find sometimes that maybe like I go too fast in it. You don't want to do that with a practice like this. Just calm yourself down. Take your time. Relax into it. And just try to do it as much as you can. Now, there's other things you can do to kind of amplify this experience. Now, I've tried smoking weed while doing this experience, which is hilarious. I don't know. Maybe talk to your doctor first. I issue warnings. It's up to you. Don't do anything that's going to make you paranoid. But that can actually kind of like accentuate the situation, get you more in tune, more into the zone. I find that sometimes helps. And then after I do these sits, sometimes I'll sit for maybe 20 minutes after. Now, the one last thing you're going to notice after, now that I've done this like whole energy thing, is the last thing I do here is this face thing you're going to notice, where I kind of like push my eyes together and all this stuff. And then like you clog your ears, you put pressure on your eyes and on your nostrils and on your mouth, and basically you're going to see this ball of yellow light kind of come into the middle. It's so freaking weird. And then you sit back and you can just see that ball of light and you just sit with it. I don't know why you do that. It was in the book. I read it, so I did it. And so that's what I do now. So I usually do that 2 times now at the end of my sit. This is the end here. So hopefully this has helped you guys, shown you a little bit of what I do, shown you into some spiritual yoga. But anyway, guys, if you liked the show, if you stayed to the end, ask yourself, what is your yoga? What are you doing? I hope you liked everything. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, the like, the share button, all that jazz. Leave a comment. And then, until next time, stay spiritual.